Om Om Sahavatu Sahajnaptu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti. 50 your focus. We'll start studying the topic shift your focus.
Shift your focus. The way to get out of your self-inflicted ordeal in life is to shift your focus of attention from the material layers of your personality to the inner core self, Atman. You have hypnotized yourself to become the body, mind, and intellect. Now reverse the process. Dehypnotize yourself by asserting your real self. Understand you are the self. Try to remember it in all your transactions of life. Assert yourself while you perceive or act with your body, while you feel with your mind, think with your intellect. Never lose sight of the self. Gradually, you would gain identification with your real self. Become the self. Regain your infinite being. Reach the abode of absolute peace and bliss. The self within, the Godhead, is one and the same in all beings. There is no difference between sinner and saint as far as the self in them is concerned. The self in the saint is the self in the sinner. The same self resides within you. You must realize its glory and grandeur. Instead, you have moved away from your divine self and fallen for the diverse attractions of body, mind, and intellect. Thus have you plunged into the diversity of the world where there is a unifying reality. The fluctuating world does not cater to your personal desires, which causes mental agitations. To find harmony in life, you must focus your attention on the core of your personality, the self, Godhead. Though known to be all-pervading, you need to penetrate into the layers of your personality to locate God. God is akin to the government of a country which is spread all over, including its territorial waters. But to contact the government, you need to reach the capital of the country. The philosophy of Vedanta helps focus your interest and attention upon the self. Gain the knowledge of self. Become one with God. The Supreme Self Godhead is the birthright of every human being. Your mission in life is to discover your divine self. To achieve this, you must mentally detach yourself from the world and attach to the self within. There lies the problem. Even spiritual seekers find it difficult to extricate their mind from the fascinations of the external world. One such seeker approached a Maulvi, a Muslim saint for attaining self-realization. At the time of his visit, The Maulvi was engaged in transplanting seedlings in the field. The seeker entreated the master to provide him with the knowledge of self, the supreme God. The holy man was silent and continued with his transplanting. The devotee was losing patience at his silence and pleaded again for guidance to find the self. The saint softly answered, I have been giving you the knowledge all this time, but you are not receiving it. By such actions, the Divine Master was subtly suggesting to transplant his mind from the outer world to the inner self. The seeker got the message and departed with a determination to pursue the self.
We'll continue. The world of toys.
The world of toys. You need to take your mind off the world. But from birth to death, the human mind is constantly attached to and involved in the multifarious attractions of the external world. In your childhood, your desires draw you to toys. You are engrossed, attached to playthings. As you grow into your teens, you move up to the next level of maturity with more knowledge and a better understanding of life. As a result, your attachment and desire for toys and trinkets are gone. But as a teenager, you're caught up with other emotions and passions of your mind. You entertain a quality of desires higher than those of toys. And when you gain further knowledge and maturity, the passionate, irresponsible desires of youth also vanish. Your intellect relates to a more responsible way of living, conceives a home with a family. But then your attachment and desire at this level are not any different from those of the child and the youth at their levels. You're still bound to the world of your own. And when you reach the highest echelon of your personality, you become spiritual. Your subtle intellect visualizes the magnificence of the transcendental experience vis-a-vis the limitations of the terrestrial world. Thus, with the acquisition of spiritual knowledge, the mundane attachments, desires sink into insignificance. You move to the topmost sector of the pyramid of life. You're left with just one desire to realize the Supreme Self. That last desire drops with the knowledge of self. Few realize that right through life one is obsessed, preoccupied with mundane enchantments, pursuing the toys that make one's joys. Coventry Patmore highlights these immature pursuits of mankind in a simple poem entitled The Toys. The poem describes a boy who repeatedly disobeyed his father's instructions. The father struck him and sent him away. Later, being concerned of grief hindering the boy's sleep, he visited his bedroom. He found the boy fast asleep, with his eyes still wet from sobbing, and observed beside the bed a collection of upbraided glass, some shells, French coins, and other futile, purposeless pieces arranged with care to solace his sad heart. The poet compares the boy's childishness to that of the human race. The adults too are enticed by name, fame, power, position, status, and family. These are the toys that enchant the adult world. A preceptor signified as father in the poem sympathizes at their pettiness, even as he disapproves of their childish behavior all through life. The poem. The toys. My little son, who looked from thoughtful eyes and moved and spoke in quite grown up wise, having my law the seventh time disobeyed, I struck him and dismissed with hard words and unkissed. His mother, who was patient, being dead, then fearing lest his grief should hinder sleep, I visited his bed, but found him slumbering deep, with darkened eyelids, and the lashes yet from his late sobbing wet. And I, with moan, kissing away his tears, left others of my own. For on a table drawn beside his head, he had put within his reach a box of counters and a red veined stone, a piece of glass abraded by the beach, and 6 or 7 shells, a bottle with bluebells, and 2 French copper coins arranged there with careful art to comfort a sad heart. So when that night I prayed to God, I wept and said, Ah, when at last we lie with tranced breath, not vexing thee in death, and thou rememberest of what toys we made our joys, how weakly understood thy great commanded good, then fatherly, not less than I whom thou hast moulded from the clay, thou wilt lead thy wrath and say, I'll be sorry for their childishness. Coventry, Patmore.
Now he's saying, shift your focus. When will you be able to shift your focus? Need to say shift your focus. When will you be able to shift your focus? You will be able to shift your focus only when you understand the relationship. What is the relationship? The relationship is what you want and what you are doing to get what you want. Again, I repeat. In Sanskrit, it's called sadhana sadhya sambandha. The relationship between the goal and the means that you are employing to get to the goal. Again, I repeat. Shift your focus, he says. The question is, how can you shift your focus? When will you be able to shift your focus? You will be able to shift your focus only when you understand a relationship. The relationship between what is your goal, and what is it that you are doing in order to get to that goal. And when you understand that this is the goal and what you are doing is nowhere taking you towards the goal, and in fact it is taking you away from the goal, what will you automatically do? You will shift your focus. You're able to follow? So technically it's called sadhana sadhya. Sadhana means the goal, the end. Sadhya means the path that you are taking to get to the goal. It means what? It presupposes that you have a clarity on what the goal is first. It presupposes that, correct? It presupposes you have a clarity on what the goal is. Only when you have a clarity on what the goal is, then you will know whether the path that you are taking in order to reach the goal is actually going to take you or not. So Vedanta has a few things to sort out. The few things it's sorting out. Okay. Free consultancy it is giving. It doesn't charge any, it doesn't know consultancy charges, it does. And it is giving consultancy, Janma's consultancy it is. Any consultant you go, next week he will make sure that you have to come back to that person. Why? Because some knot he will keep, some mistake he will keep, so that to solve that you have to go to that person only. Here Vedanta gives a many Janma's consultancy it is. What is that many Janma consultancy? That is also for free. First it says, do you realize there is a goal? Have you figured out the goal? If you have not figured out the goal, again you go one step backward. It presupposes that you have to figure out what the goal is. A goal that is supposed to bring you a satisfaction. A goal that is supposed to make you peace and calm. A goal that is supposed to not keep you in worry and anxiety. A goal that is not supposed to keep you in fear. Then only it can be called as a goal. So first question is, what is the goal? We know the goal, sir. What is the goal? The goal we know. Alatur, what is the goal? What is the goal? Realize the self is the goal. Realization not known. The self is also not known. So nothing about the goal is known. Since nothing about the goal is known, how can you take a meaningful path in order to get to the goal? So when will you be able to shift your focus? The ability to shift your focus comes when the goal is clear and the path is also clear. And what is the path? What you should do and what you should not do. That is the path. The path to the goal involves two things. What are the two things that involves in a path? What you should do and what you should not do. Who are you to say that I will do what I want to do? You can do what you want to do, but you will not be able to reach the goal. What is the goal? A goal is the freedom that you are seeking from a chronic disease. Goal of all species, goal of all human beings is freedom from a chronic disease. You understand the word chronic disease, no? Chronic disease means, Ram Tirtha says, it's like he says it's a chronic disease. It's like rheumatism, he says. It will move from one joint to the another joint, but it will not leave the body. Now, what difference does it make whether your elbows are paining or whether this joint is paining or this joint is paining? Pain is. So, what is the disease? The chronic disease. The chronic disease is always a dissatisfaction. The dissatisfaction is the disease. So, in order to satisfy, you rearrange things. In order to satisfy, what do? First, you understand what is the disease. What is the disease? Dissatisfaction is the disease. And this dissatisfaction is chronic. Chronic means if you think you can achieve satisfaction by acquiring wealth, you will acquire wealth. But then the dissatisfaction will move to, are you able to understand? The chronic dissatisfaction will move from wealth to, in the process of acquiring wealth, I didn't pay attention to relationships, sir. Then you will start paying attention to relationships. Then you will say, the way I was paying attention to relationships and acquiring wealth, I didn't pay enough attention to my own self. And what is your own self? That also is not known. So the dissatisfaction keeps shifting from one to the other, but ultimately what it remains, ultimately what happens, ultimately you remain discontented. So what is the goal? The goal is very clear now. What is the goal? Freedom from this chronic dissatisfaction is the goal. And this is the theme of Vedanta. Freedom from this chronic dissatisfaction is Vedanta. In one sentence in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, he says, Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi, something is dear not for the sake of the object, Maitreyi. It is dear to you because it temporarily gives you freedom from this chronic disease. It's a temporary freedom from the chronic disease. So you hold on to it. You follow? It's a temporary reprieve you get from the what? There's a dissatisfaction. And what is the dissatisfaction? The dissatisfaction is a non-acceptance. And to say accept yourself has no meaning because you can never accept. Why you can never accept? Body will have the limitations of diseases, etc. How can you be happy with the disease? Mind has its own confusions, ups and downs. How can you be happy with it? Intellect understands how much ever you know. There are so many things that you don't know. So this dissatisfaction arising through the instruments is dissatisfaction through the instruments is an impossibility. Satisfaction through the instruments is an impossibility. For this, introspecting your own life and making a study about the life of others around you is the proof. You don't need to study Vedanta for this. You need to study your own life and study the life of study the life of everyone around you. There is a chronic dissatisfaction. And the chronic dissatisfaction is manifesting as in wanting to change something all the time. You want to change somebody, you want to change some environment, you want to rearrange, at least you want to rearrange at least you want to keep rearranging the furnitures in the room. Isn't it? At least you have to keep going for a haircut week after week after week. So this chronic dissatisfaction. So what is the goal? Freedom from this chronic dissatisfaction is the goal. How are you attempting to get freedom from the chronic dissatisfaction till now? What is the method that you are adopting? You know that you are dissatisfied. Vedanta need not come and tell you you are dissatisfied. The moment you come out of your deep sleep, you know that you are dissatisfied. All that you need to understand your dissatisfaction is what? Srikant, kannu muvicha bol, isn't it? As soon as you wake up, it's clear that the dissatisfaction with which you went to sleep is what you wake up. You wake up with few minutes of peace. As soon as you wake up, there is no few minutes of peace and happiness also. Therefore, chronic dissatisfaction is the disease And what is the goal? The goal is freedom from this dissatisfaction, chronic dissatisfaction. You know that this is, everybody knows that this is the freedom they want. Everybody knows this. Everybody understands this is the freedom they want. Only thing, what do they do? This is where shift your focus starts here. At this point, only shift your focus starts. You know that this is the destination. And what is your focus? Where you are focusing is not going to solve it. Where you are focusing, the world of toys. Where you are focusing on the world of toys, and that is not going to solve the problem. So the goal has to be clear. It means first you need to be taught about the goal. So go step by step. First is you have to be told the goal. You have to be taught about the goal. Self-realization is nothing but Kolatur. Self-realization is freedom from Kolatur na Manohar. You are not Kolatur. Srikanth, you are not Kolatur. ஏன்னா அவர் தான் போட்டு இருக்கிறார் Kolaturnu. அதனால Kolatur. So self-realization means freedom from this chronic dissatisfaction. What is moksha? Liberation. Liberation from what? Too much of noise here, sir. So liberation is freedom from this noise and going to the Himalayas. Going to the Himalayas is freedom. Okay, you will go and sit in the Himalayas. The mosquitoes will start. The mosquitoes will start making noise there. Now what will you do? You are so used to sleeping in the room. Suddenly you start sleeping in the cave. You hear all the sounds in the night, isn't it? Nowadays we don't get to hear all that. Previously it used to happen a lot, isn't it? The first couple of rains is enough for the frogs to start their concert, isn't it? They start the concert. Oh my God, the concert they start. And nowadays people don't even get to hear all this. They don't get to hear the So the frogs concert brings about a tremendous dissatisfaction, isn't it? And you want to eliminate all the frogs so that you will find the satisfaction. So you will eliminate the frog, but then something else keeps coming up. That is why it's called a chronic dissatisfaction. Do you want freedom from this chronic dissatisfaction? Everybody will say yes. But one thing they will not do is what? They will not shift the focus. Everybody will want freedom from the chronic dissatisfaction. But what they will not do, what people will not do, they will not want to take the appropriate path to get there. Knowledge in life, clarity in life is what road takes you to the destination. What is taking you away from the destination? What is taking you towards the destination? So, goal is clear. What is the goal? Freedom from this chronic dissatisfaction. How do you know this chronic dissatisfaction? Balastavat, in Bhajagovindam, he puts it very poetically. Balastavat, Krida Saktaha, Tarunastavat, Taruni Saktaha, Vriddhastavat, Chinta Saktaha, Parame Brahmani, Opina Saktaha. That's what he's going to explain now. That's what that verse is what is going to be explained. Balastavat krida saktaha. As a child, you are dissatisfied. As a child, the chronic dissatisfaction is there. And where lies solution for the child from the dissatisfaction? Toys and trinkets. Balastavat krida saktaha. You cannot tell the child, and you cannot tell the child it is not, it's not there. You cannot tell the child that. And then the child grows. Balastavat krida saktaha. Remember this verse, sir. In case if I forget to prompt, I will remember. Balastavat krida saktaha. The lost. Second is vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. What is the second one? Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. Grades you have to go. It goes step by step, it goes. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. What is that tarunastavat taruni saktaha? You saw the figure, no? Teenage passions. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. That's the diagram. The teenage passions. From the teenage passions, it extends to family, business, etc. Whatever be it. Vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. Chinta means worries. Chinta means what is a worry? What is a worry? A imagination that something is going to happen and a imagination that something is going to happen and developing a fear developing a fear out of that imagination. That's called worry. Are you able to follow? What is the definition of worry? Worry is nothing but an imagination that something is going to happen. Like he gives the example. The old man will come and sit. You switch on the fan. He will look at the fan and he will think. What he will think? Suddenly, if the fan falls down. Suddenly, if the fan falls down, what will happen? Suddenly, if the ceiling cracks, what will happen? I'm living 150 meters above the ground. I'm living. I'm not living on the ground. I'm living 150 meters above the ground. So one of the persons came to visit me. First question. Suddenly, if the lift doesn't work, what will you do? What will you do? We will wait till the lift gets fixed. We will wait. What else to do? You have two legs. Since you are not using the two legs, you can't climb down the stairs. So what you have to do? You have to simply wait. This is called chinta saktaha. And this chinta saktaha people think as anticipation. Na? This chinta saktaha is what is misunderstood as anticipation. In case if it falls, what will I do? In case if this have not. So what happens is the chronic dissatisfaction continues. And you know that you are dissatisfied. And what is the method that you have been adopting all along? That is where the Brihadaranyaka mantra is very important. Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. The wife is not dear for the sake of the wife, but for the sake of the self in the wife. Self means the little self, your own self. Your own satisfaction is there in that person. You are attracted to something because you find a satisfaction. The moment you don't find a satisfaction, what happens? You just, like a hot potato, that person is dropped, no? And the other person can come and fall at your feet. The other person can cry and hold your legs and don't leave me, don't leave me. How can you do this? You are breaking my heart. You are doing this, you are doing that. But you will absolutely turn. You will absolutely turn indifferent. Why? Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. The wife is not dear for the sake of the wife, but for the sake of your own self in the wife. The husband is not dear for the sake of the husband, but for the sake of your own self in the husband. What is your own self means? What is your own self means? Satisfaction. Your own satisfaction. Why is it that you are looking at your own satisfaction all the time? Why is it that you are looking at your own satisfaction all the time? You may not agree with Vedanta. You may not accept what Vedanta says, but that is the knowledge is a fact, irrespective of your acceptance or not. Knowledge means, what is knowledge? Knowledge means it is a fact and it is proven to be true, irrespective of your agreement or disagreement. Then only it's called as knowledge. Now, why is it that a human being is constantly seeking the satisfaction? Because there is this chronic dissatisfaction. What is freedom from that now? Shift your. How do you achieve freedom from that? Shift your focus. It means you need to know where your focus is now. Where is your focus? Focus means attention. Correct? Shift your attention. It's like saying shift your attention, because focus means yeah. What does focus means? The camera, the phone, autofocus, isn't it? I don't know how it will autofocus, but it will focus. So focus means attention. So shift your focus means shift your focus means shift your attention. What will convince you to shift your attention? That is what we started with. We're able to connect now. What will convince you to shift your attention? Only when you understand that the goal and the means that you are adopting to the goal to reach the goal are not in sync. You go to the railway station here, you buy the ticket, you want to go to Mumbai. All trains start from Chennai Central only, isn't it? All trains start from the same destination only. Instead of, since all trains start from the same destination, what will you do? You want to go to Mumbai and go and sit in the train that takes you to Calcutta. Everyone follow? The destination is clear, but you are traveling in the wrong direction. Lot of knowledge, lot of reflection, lot of understanding is required to shift the focus, to realize that you are traveling in the wrong direction. To realize that you are traveling in the wrong direction and you have to shift your focus. What Vedanta does, it talks about the goal. And since it is able to talk about the goal so clearly, because it has the path also laid out. It has the path laid out very clearly. What is the path that is laid out very clearly? What is the destination that will take you to the... If you do not follow this, बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः, तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः, वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः, परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः. If your focus is not clear, if you are traveling in the wrong direction, what happens? If the focus is not clear, and if you keep traveling in this wrong direction, what happens? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Punaha api, you keep going through the same dissatisfaction, attempting to find dissatisfaction, and only to realize that at one point of time, a big house is satisfaction. At another point of time, going to a small house is satisfaction. At one point of time, a particular person is satisfying. At another point in time, running away from that person is satisfying. A chronic dissatisfaction is because you are trying to find satisfaction in the area where it is naturally limited. Again, I repeat, why it is not working? Because you are trying to find satisfaction in an object or in a person or in a change or in a government or in your horoscope or in God, anything. Something you want to change, all the time. You can never find satisfaction in that. Why? By nature, it is limited. Anything that is limited, when you are exposed to that limitation, what will happen? Are you able to follow the logic? Anything, each and everything has its own limitation. As long as you are not exposed to that limitation, as long as you are not aware of the limitation, as long as you don't even conceive that there is a limitation to it, you are so completely convinced. What is the conviction? What is the conviction? My freedom from this chronic disease lies in this. You follow? Nobody loves me, sir. The boy told me, nobody loves me, sir. I said, I'm loving you, no, I said. I am loving, what is your problem? Your father is love. No, 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 no. That one person is not loving. That's all. When that one person is not loving, nobody loves. Nobody loves. And when that one person loves, satisfaction, isn't it? What a satisfaction it is. So funny when they come and introduce, when they are in love with each other, they will come and introduce. How they will introduce, Anshu, have you ever introduced anybody like that? Huh? Palatur, I know. ரொம்ப குவைட்டா இருந்தாலே ஃப்ராடுன்னு அர்த்தம், isn't it? ரொம்ப நல்லவங்களா போட்டாலே they are not, they are all unbelievable there. I'm also like that, So how they introduce? They come and introduce. How will they introduce? Venkatachalam, you know how they introduce? Wrong back, sir. I also introduced, but now I forgot. I don't even want to remember that and all in my life anymore. How do they introduce? The best person in my life. I feel like saying, remember Yagyavalkya. I don't say that. Even though I feel like saying, I don't say that. Why? Because they are not in a framework to listen. Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. I'm not saying the whole mantra. I'm just giving the first 4 sentences of the mantra. That's all. First 4 words of that mantra, not sentences. First 4 words of that mantra. Are, he says. Are means my dear. Are. Are means my dear in Sanskrit. Rumba affection jaasti anda vaadi, they say no like that. Isn't it? Tamil. இப்பெல்லாம் வாடிலாம் சொன்னா திருப்பி they will say வாடா அதெல்லாம் ட்ரை பண்ணது. அரே he says. Are means dear, dear Maitreyi, dear Maitreyi. Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. You can never find satisfaction in anything that you are pursuing. Why? Because at some point of time you will be exposed to the truth. At some point in time you will be exposed to the truth. At some point in time you will be exposed to the fact. What is the truth? What is the fact? You will expose to it. You will be exposed to the limitation of that. And when you are exposed to the limitation of that, immediately what the mind does? Immediately what the mind does? Drop it and go to the next. In one janma, you will keep moving like this. If you can't do it in one janma, you will move from janma to janma. So, first thing, what is he saying here in shift your focus? The method that you are adopting to find satisfaction through some objects, beings, or a collection of few objects and beings is going to be futile. Not that they are futile. Please understand, not that they are futile. What is futile here? You are misunderstanding that will free you from the chronic dissatisfaction. Srikanth, purida correct? Huh? You're misunderstanding that will give you freedom from the chronic dissatisfaction. And here he says, you will be able to shift your focus so effortlessly. You'll be able to shift your focus so easily when you understand this correlation. What is the correlation? Technically, it's called the sadhana sadhya sambandha. Sadhana sadhya sambandha means the goal, the means. Technically, it's called the means and the end. End means the goal, means the path that you are traveling to get to that. And you cannot tell that person accept the limitation. You cannot tell the person accept the limitation. And if you turn back and say, have you accepted certain limitations? That person, no, I'm still trying to change it. Isn't it? It is easy to tell the others, accept the limitation. But it is impossible to accept the limitation. Why it is impossible to accept the limitation? Because the limitation instantly manifests the disease. The limitation instantly will bring the disease into manifestation. The limitation of something instantly brings about the manifestation. What is the manifestation? Limitation. And what is the limitation? Dissatisfaction continues. Dissatisfaction continues. With this, we will see what he says as in shift the focus. With this background, you will be able to understand what he is saying. Are you able to follow? Otherwise, you will be lost. You will be traveling in the wrong direction, come and complain, cry. Again, take the wrong direction, again cry. Again, take the wrong direction, again cry. Remember that example Swamiji gives on a hot Sunday afternoon. Man is waiting for the bus. The man is waiting for the bus. because it is so hot. Sunday after some hot afternoon, the bus didn't come. In that heat, he leaned against the iron pole. What happened? He leaned against the iron pole. He got burnt. He comes home and tells the wife. What does he tell the wife? I got burnt today. And the wife also says, correct. Kartale Sun TV our son are correct. Unga Rasi ki Niki Sun TV they told you very clearly this morning. For your Rasi, you will get burnt today. And she also sympathizes. And now you also know the reason for your dissatisfaction. What is the reason for your dissatisfaction? What is the cause for your dissatisfaction now? The Rasi Inniki appadi irukku. That's why you know the reason. Next day, another hot afternoon, again the fellow will lean on the same post, gets burnt and come back and complain some other reason. But one thing that fellow will not do. What? One thing he will not do. What he will not do? He will not stop leaning. Adu mudiyathu. Except that he will do. Except that he will want to do everything else. You lean on something constantly. Why? Because of the chronic. The way to get out of this self-inflicted ordeal in life. What is the self-inflicted ordeal in life? The dissatisfaction is not real. That's why it's called self-inflicted self-dissatisfaction. Chronic. It is not real. If it is real, you can never transcend it. The fact that you are able to transcend it means it's not real. The inability to shift your focus of attention from the material layers of your personality to the inner core. Shift your focus means shift the attention to the self. But how can I shift attention to that which I do not know anything about? Another problem, isn't it? How can I shift attention towards that which I don't know anything about? That is where he says the subtle intellect comes into play. The subtle intellect, the growth of the subtle intellect will be able to visualize and be convinced about the grandeur of that inner core. There is a solution even there. Straight away you cannot do it. Straight away you will not be able to do it. While perception happens and action happens, when emotion happens, when thinking happens, remember the combination and shift to the focus from the layers to the. What is the combination? What is the combination? What is the combination? Correct or solno? Whoever gives the wrong answer will be disqualified from the next class. But we are waiting for this only, sir. And I will not do that because everybody will be disqualified. All will get disqualified. I will also get disqualified in the bargain. So what is the combination? The combination is the spirit and matter. Combination is the spirit and matter. Shift your focus means shifting the attention from the matter to the spirit. Self plus matter. Matter is lifeless, but it appears to have life because of the proximity to the self. That's why you should remember the Atmabodha crystal example. Remember the Atmabodha crystal example he gives? Thesis on God, we forgot. There is a beautiful example he gave. The blueness of the crystal is not because of the crystal is blue. The blueness of the crystal is because of its proximity to the blue color. Similarly, the matter, because of the proximity to the spirit, it appears to be life. It appears to be something. But per se, it is nothing. So what do you have to do? Shift your focus. It implies that your current focus is wrong. It implies what? Where you are focusing currently is wrong. Where is the current focus? The toys. That's where the poem toys come. Multifarious facets of the external world is what everybody is focused upon. You achieve one, but the fact that you didn't achieve others brings about the dissatisfaction. Are you able to follow? You have achieved one, and definitely you will achieve one, but the fact that you didn't achieve the rest keeps you dissatisfied. Keeps you dissatisfied. What does that mean? You are engrossed. So many things that in life you have to come with. So many things in life. At one point of time, the memory is good. At another point of time, the memory fades away. So you got to come in terms with that reality. One deficiency of memory, deficiency of knowledge, the deficiency of health, wealth, the list is getting longer and longer, isn't it? The list simply gets longer and longer. And yet you are told solution is accept it. How can you accept it? Because the struggle continues. A struggling person, a person in struggle, a person in fight cannot be a happy person. Cannot be a contented person. Why? Because he knows that the very struggle itself at some point of time is going to turn futile. The very struggle itself is going to turn futile. Towards what a human being is struggling? Towards what a human being is struggling? First thing is name, the toys. No, the toys, no. Name, fame, power, position, wealth, status, family. These are the toys. Name. What is name? First thing, name. Yeah. Name, no, not your name. Huh? Not your name. What does name means? Name is nothing but flattery. Name, na? Flattery. And the cheapest technique is to flatter, but that is the only technique that works. You know that, no? The cheapest technique is flattery. And that is the only, and that's the only technique that works. Why? Because the first toy, what is the first toy? Name. Name. And then fame. Fame. Yeah. Wherever I go, everybody must know me, recognize me. That's fame. What is fame means? Wherever I go, I should be recognized. And what an effort they make to attract this recognition. You know, what an effort everybody makes to attract this name, fame, power. And what is power? And what is power? ஒருத்தர் கூட சொன்ன பேச்சை கேட்க மாட்டேன்றாங்க சார். Nobody is. Power means what? You say something that is taken as a command and executed. That is power. You say something clear. I want water. Yeah. One of the scenes I saw, beautiful scene. The fellow says, I want water. And the next fellow says, he wants water. And the third fellow says, he wants, nobody is giving him the water. Nobody gives him the, so what is power means? You execute you say something and that is taken and, yeah. Supposing you say, I want coffee, Srikanth. இன்னைக்கு டீ தான் அப்படின்னா no power, isn't it? You say, I want dosa. இன்னைக்கு பட்னி தான்னா பட்னினா fasting, isn't it? Today, it means there is no power. Name, fame, power, position. What is position? At least when I'm retiring, I should retire as commissioner, isn't it? At least ஜாபுக்கு போகும்போது கமிஷனர் ஆனா கூட பரவாயில்ல சார். When I'm retiring, I should retire as commissioner. And they will make you the commissioner. After becoming the commissioner, only the commissioner realizes that that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Name, fame, power, position, status. What is status? Sense of inadequacy you feel. Status gives you a freedom from the sense of inadequacy. What is status? And I'm trying to define each and every term separately. Are you able to follow? What is status? Status is nothing but a sense of inadequacy. And to fill that inadequacy, you do something. What is it? You are invited for somebody's wedding, and the lady goes and borrows jewelry, saree from the neighbor, wears that and goes to the wedding. Why? That's called status. That's called status. A sense of inadequacy you feel and you want to fill it up. Status. Then comes அப்புறம் அடுத்தது என்ன? Name, fame, power, position, status, அப்புறம் family. Wealth. Wealth வந்தாதான் family. Where there is no wealth, there is no family. That is very clear. Where there is no wealth, there is no family. Bhajagovindam, correct? Jnate tatve kaha parivaraha. When wealth goes, when you lose the capacity to earn, he says, even the dog in your house will not respect you. Forget about the others. Isn't it? That's where he gives this example, no? The chairman of the bank, when he goes for morning walk, 15 fellows are walking behind. That day he retired. Next day, nobody even recognized. I'm seeing here in this locality, where I go for the walk, all the so-called big fellows also come for the walk. From the number of people following behind, whether that person is retired or in power. There is one, that commissioner. Every 50 feet, one fellow will be standing. Sir vanditar, sir vanditar, sir vanditar. Another fellow is walking, nobody even. So, family comes only where there is wealth. That's why family is put at the end. Family is put at the end. Not necessarily in that sequence. You can mix match also, but understand everything separately. What is wealth? Wealth is the capacity to buy objects at your will. That is wealth. Wealth means the capacity to buy objects at your will. Isn't it? iPhone 13 market lo vandirthuna straight away you can go and buy it. You don't want exchange offer, you don't want discount offer, you don't want to ask your friend in Dubai how much it is costing there, you don't want to ask your friend in Australia how much it is costing. You don't want to do all that because you have wealth. What is wealth? You can just walk in and buy. And everybody wants that capacity. Now, what is wealth? Supposing you have accounts and all the accounts are frozen and you can't touch it, na? What is the use of that wealth? Are you able to follow? Bal Subramanian. Account is there, money is there, but it's all frozen. Commissioner came and froze all the accounts and went. What do you do with that wealth? Nothing can be done. Therefore, what is wealth? Wealth is nothing but the capacity to buy objects at your will. Then comes back. These are the toys that makes our joys. These are the toys that makes your joys. Toy means that which is meaningful as long as you refuse to grow up. Toy means that which appears meaningful. Toy means that which appears beautiful, wonderful when you are stunted. When you refuse to grow up, what you will be playing with still? Toy, isn't it? Therefore, shift your focus from from matter to spirit. And what is matter? The toys. What is matter? The toys. Even when we say body, mind, intellect, the body, mind, intellect itself is an association with the toys only. Therefore, if you have to shift your attention from the body, mind, intellect, you have to shift your attention from the toys. Because when you shift your attention from the toys, automatically your attention is shifted to the spirit. You cannot pick your attention from body and put it on the self. You cannot pick your attention from the mind and put it on the self. You cannot put you cannot pick your focus from the intellect and put it on the self. What is the realistic method? What is the practical method? What is the real method? The real method is from the toys, you shift the father in the poem. Name, fame, power, position, status, family. Wealth is included because without wealth, nothing is. At one point of time, you believe wealth is powerful. And then you realize that you are not powerful, wealth is powerful. You think that if you have wealth, you become powerful, correct? You acquire wealth because you believe that if you acquire wealth, you will become powerful. And then you realize what? Even in the combination of wealth and you, what is powerful? Wealth only is powerful, not you. You appear to be powerful because of the wealth. Because everybody comes to you only for Venkat. Somebody should become bankrupt, na VAM kuda thirumbi paakadu, isn't it? Even we will not look back at that fellow, no. Why? Because why we will not, even Vedanta people will not look. Why? Because there is nothing to. So when you are constantly contacted, there is something in you that is meaningful that you are being contacted. So what is that is meaningful in you that you are being contacted for? Not you. What is it? The wealth, the power, the position. You may not be having the wealth, but my file is stuck and the commissioner can pass the file. So even there, the approach is you are approached not for you. You are approached because of what? Are you able to follow? And this is quid pro quo. This is what you do to others, and that's what others do to you. And everybody keeps playing around with these toys. Father here represents the preceptor, the guru, the shastras. Having my law the seventh time disobeyed. Now I'm reading the point. Having my law the seventh time disobeyed. What a passion, what a compassion. Huh? 7 times waited. Long rope. The law gives a long rope. And when you, the 7th time disobeyed, I struck him and dismissed. His mother, who was patient, being dead. Poor fellow. He can't even go on. So our father felt very sympathetic. So what he did, I visited his bed, but found him slumbering deep with darkened eyelids and their lashes yet from his late sobbing wet. He's sleeping, but you can still see the drops because cried and cried and cried, and people say I cried myself to sleep. No, correct? Nobody laughs themselves to sleep, correct? Yeah, everybody will cry. I don't know why everybody cry themselves to sleep, but to cry. So that boy cried oneself to sleep. For on a table drawn beside his head, he had put within his. And then he looked around. What gave him comfort? He disobeyed the law, and he is paying the price for disobeying the law. Are you able to follow still now what has happened? You disobey the law, and when you disobey the law will take its course. And when the law takes its course, you look for some solace. And what did the boy found solace in? A box of counters and a red veined stone, a piece of glass abraded by the beach, six or seven shells, a bottle with blue balls, and 2 French copper coins. 2 French copper coins is useless there. Huh? 2 French copper coins ranged there with careful art to comfort a sad heart. Arranged beautifully. It's all beautifully done. The decoration is done. Everything is done. But at the end of it, what? No? What did you gather when you are a child? Rajshekhar. Marandu pochu, sir, I forgot. What was the most prized possession? Matchbox labels. Correct? Matchbox labels. Marbles. Negatives, films it's called, isn't it? Negatives it is. Isn't it? All looks the same. Because a negative, no, unless you print it, then only you will know what is in that. You will sell that, matchbox labels, negatives. And then something else becomes the prized possession. What is the prized possession after that? A strand of hair in the hairband, isn't it? The hair band and the strand of hair in that hair band becomes a prized possession. Correct? Whose hair it is? Whose hair? The best person. I don't know. Whatever, whoever it is. And then something else becomes the prized possession. And then something else becomes a prized possession. To give comfort. To give comfort. And the father says, what toys we made our joys. How weakly understood thy great commanded good. Then I whom thou hast molded from the clay, thou shalt leave thy wrath and say, I'll be sorry for their childishness. I'll be sorry for their childishness. What is the childishness? The useless things is what gives comfort. Able to follow? Childish means the useless things that gives comfort. Therefore, shift your focus. From what now? Shift your focus. From useless to the useful. From meaningless to the meaningful. From the wrong direction to the right direction. That is called shift your focus. Shift your focus from what? From the toys. Shift your focus from the toys. To summarize, you can shift your focus easily. The shift in focus happens practically only when you understand what the relationship between the sadhana sadhya, the goal and the path to the goal, the goal and the path to the goal. Once you understand this, easily you will shift your attention. How to do that practically is going to analyze each and every attraction. What is from the material world, what is from the, all that is going to come next week. What is from the material world, from the physical world, from all that we will discuss. By understanding all this, you can shift your focus. So, what is the disease? Dissatisfaction is the disease. And what is the nature of the disease? It's chronic. And the only way to gain freedom from the chronic dissatisfaction is looking for it where it is there. Looking for it where it is there. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with attractions of the world next week. Anything, Venkat? No, yeah, very good. We'll continue with attractions of the world.